What's up guys, it's Cal. In today's video, we will go on a photo walk in my neighborhood and I will show you guys the settings that I use on my Fuji X100F. Now these settings are my go-to settings and work well on a sunny day when the subject is in direct sunlight. By no means am I telling you this is the right way to shoot, but these settings have helped me to capture images according to the style that I like. Now, I do consider myself a beginner at street photography, and if you have seen my previous videos, you know that I fell in love with the Fuji X-F10 and its snap mode, which allowed me to focus on light and composition. Now that my Fuji X-F10 has been out of commission, I started using the Fuji X100F and began to use particular settings that have become my go-to for a bright sunny day. I'm hoping this video will give you some direction if you are a beginner and you can see how I approach street photography in this photo walk. Alright, so I found a parking here and let's get right into the settings. When I go out, I like to shoot in a bright sunny day. Ideally, when the sun is its brightest and it's hiding behind a cloud and it comes out and you almost have to like squint because it's so bright. I set my camera up at 1/1000th of a second, ISO 100 and f/5.6. This will allow my highlights to be protected and nothing will be blown out in direct sunlight. As you can see by this picture, the highlights are protected and what's in the shade will go dark. Now it's really important to notice that anything in the shade will not come out in these pictures with these settings. For example, shooting down the street, you can't see anything except the sunlight at the end of the street. So when I have my camera set up like this, I look for pockets of light, like this one here. And I just wait for either someone to walk into the light before I take the picture. Now if I were to snap a picture of this family on the right here, they wouldn't come up because they're in shade. So I noticed this patch of light. I walked past it and turned around and I saw this guy walking and I took his picture. Again, you could tell the sun is out, but it's not at its brightest, but still, you know, that was just my warm-up shot, I guess. So as I'm walking in the shade here, again, I could change my settings. I can open up my f-stop and drop down my shutter speed, but I'm just looking for subjects walking into light. And so I see light here and a subject pops up, so I take the shot, boom. And I like the fact that her hand is in front of her face, creating a shadow. Now there's a skater there that I happen to catch. The thing with this picture is that he's lit up by the sun, but so is the background, so it doesn't really create that sense of drama that I like. The camera's set up to do wide tracking in terms of focusing, so it'll track what's in the middle of the frame. It's not like the center point, it's an actual wide zone that it tracks. And that seems to work fairly well with the Fuji X100F. And I'm also in burst mode doing 8 frames per second. Now here I'm walking and I'm noticing there's some people in the shadows that are walking my direction. They're about to walk into the sun. So hopefully I'll get some people nicely exposed and shade in the background. So there you see my camera. I'm going to shoot from the hip. I rarely put my camera up to my eye. So there's a shot, there's an example. You see the dark spots, the shady spots go to black. Here's another example of some bike riders riding right into the light. Now as I'm walking on the left, there was a guy sitting on a bench with his bike. And I decided just to snap a picture just to show you again that these settings will not work in the shade. But my idea here is to just shoot people in direct sunlight. I can't stress that enough. I've been here before since this is part of my neighborhood, and I've actually taken a portrait by this train exhibit that we have here. What I'm noticing is the front of the train is lit up by the sun. So if I were taking a portrait, I would have my subject walk towards the end and just hang out there by that area that's lit up, and everything else should go dark. It's kind of the style that I like, you know. I like highlights on shadows, basically. Highlight on shadow. So as I'm walking here, I'm noticing this lady by the bus, but I did not time it well, and I chopped her head off. That was a fail. So as I'm here by the street, I also noticed a bike rider coming down, and I took his picture. He gave me a peace sign. It was kind of cool. Alright, so there's nothing going on, so I'm doubling back. Alright, as I'm walking, there's not much going on, so I like the way those windows look in the sunlight. So I popped off a shot. As I'm walking down this way, I notice again the sunlight hitting the gate and maybe a little bit of flare that I can try to get. Also, a squirrel came by. If you could see him there, he actually stopped for a second. This little webcam that I have is not the best webcam. It was like a $35 one. Here's a lady walking up a hill, and she's in direct sunlight. Actually, you can see how low the sun is. It's about to like dip behind the buildings there. So I'm walking up a hill. I notice there's a guy. I don't know if he's feeding the birds or having lunch, or both at the same time. As I'm walking up, I also noticed there's a pigeon on the railing here, and I tried to like frame him up nice too. Now, as I'm heading close to a bus stop, I do notice there's the glass there, so I wanted to make a reflection shot. I had noticed a mother and her son talking on the side. She kind of comes up front, and she calls him over, and I'm like, okay, let me try to get a reflection shot. Not amazing, but it is what it is. Again, I took a shot of this bike guy here, but he's lit up, the cars are lit up, the whole street's lit up. Doesn't cause for too much drama, but it is what it is. Here at the opposite corner, I noticed this family here waiting for the light to turn green so they can cross. I noticed the sun is hitting, I think it's the grandmother's face. So I just dropped my camera to the side, angled it, and took a shot. And I like the way that the shadow was hitting her face. That was kind of cool. Okay. I'm noticing some young kids walking by. Try to pop off some shots here. And yeah, that was quick. I mean, Fuji does a great job at this is a wide zone tracking. So as I'm walking back to my car, I do decide to change my settings because I'm like, okay, there's no more sun. So I changed my settings to probably 1/250th of a second. I'm still at ISO 100, and I probably dropped my, opened up my lens to f2, and you get a look like this, which is nice. You know, but it doesn't have that highlight on the shadow feel, but still it's a little more documentary actually. Alright, so this guy is walking into the light. I shot the picture a little too early, I remember, because his face was not illuminated, but in Lightroom I just brushed in a little bit of exposure and cheated basically. So I'm driving up to a park, and I'm hoping that there's still sunlight out. If there's no sun, I'll probably just go home. So let's see what happens. Okay, so as I'm walking in, I do see a patch of light on that little green wall there. I like the shadows also, so I snapped that picture. Walked into this little playground area, and I noticed a lady talking to a friend and some guys playing chess, so I took these pictures. Again, if you notice, they're in direct sunlight. If they were in any shade, would not be able to see their pictures. And lastly, this guy was going around with his kid on his little electronic scooter, and I happened to get him. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you already haven't, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to hit that notification bell for more videos like this one. Let me know in the comment section if you tried going out with these settings and how it worked out for you. As always, this is Cal reminding you that every day is a learning day. What did you learn today?